The desert didn't forgive mistakes. It remembered them. Ethan Cole knew that better than most. Every scar on his body was a lesson the West had carved into him with heat, iron and gunfire. As the sun sank low over Red Hollow, the town looked like a half-forgotten dream. Leaning wooden buildings, a crooked church steeple, and a main street layered with dust so thick it muffled footsteps like a graveyard. Ethan reined in his horse at the edge of town. 10 years. That's how long he'd stayed away. 10 years since the night Red Hollow burned. People still remembered his name here. He could feel it in the way the wind shifted, like the land itself whispering, "Cole is back." He dismounted slowly, hand never far from the revolver at his hip. The leather was worn smooth from years of use. This gun had ended lives, bad men, worse men, and a few he still saw in his sleep. The saloon doors creaked open as he stepped inside. Conversation died instantly. A dozen faces turned toward him. Some hardened, some paled. One man dropped his glass. Behind the bar stood Martha Gray, older now, lines carved deep around her eyes. When she saw Ethan, her hand tightened around the counter. "You've got nerve," she said. "Coming back here." "Wasn't planning on staying," Ethan replied. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. "Just passing through." "That's what you said last time," she shot back. He didn't argue, because last time he'd left Red Hollow soaked in blood. A piano player in the corner slowly resumed playing, fingers shaking. Ethan walked to the bar and ordered whiskey. Martha poured it without asking for payment. Some debts didn't need settling in coin. "You hear about Caleb Royce?" she asked quietly. Ethan's jaw tightened. Royce. The name tasted like iron. "He's still breathing?" Ethan asked. Martha leaned closer. "He owns this town now." That was all Ethan needed to hear. Royce had been a snake even back then, smiling preacher by day, ruthless butcher by night. 10 years ago, Royce's men had slaughtered Ethan's brother and pinned the crime on him. Ethan had cleared his name with bullets, but Royce had slipped away, leaving Red Hollow to burn in revenge. Now he was back, and so was Ethan. Outside, thunder rolled, not from clouds but from hooves. A gang rode in, dust exploding around them like gun smoke. At their center rode a tall man in a black coat, silver badge gleaming on his chest. Caleb Royce. His hair was streaked with gray now, but his smile was unchanged, cold, certain. "Well," Royce said as he dismounted, eyes locking on Ethan through the saloon doors. "Looks like the devil found his way home." Ethan stepped outside to meet him. Men lined the street. Guns were visible, hands twitching. The town held its breath. "You made yourself sheriff," Ethan said. "That's rich." Royce chuckled. "People like order. I provide it. You provide graves." Royce's smile faded just a touch. "You here to start another fire, Cole?" "No," Ethan said. "I'm here to end one." Silence stretched thin. Royce raised a hand. His men tensed. "You kill me," Royce said, "and this town burns again. Women, kids, innocents, you. Ready to carry that weight?" Ethan thought of his brother's face, thought of the screams 10 years ago, thought of all the nights he'd ridden under empty stars, running from ghosts. "I've been carrying it," he said quietly. "Every day." Royce went for his gun. The world exploded. Shots cracked like lightning. Glass shattered. Horses screamed. Ethan moved on instinct, diving behind a water trough, firing with deadly precision. One man dropped, then another. Dust and blood filled the air. Royce's men were many, but they weren't Ethan Cole. Ethan advanced, relentless, each step measured, each shot final. He took a bullet to the shoulder and didn't slow. Pain was just another old companion. Finally, it was just the two of them. Royce stumbled back against the sheriff's office. Gun empty, eyes wide with something like fear. "You should have stayed gone," Royce whispered. "So should you," Ethan replied. Royce lunged with a knife. One shot. Royce collapsed into the dust, eyes staring at a sky he'd never cared about. The town stayed silent long after the echo faded. Ethan stood there, breathing hard, blood soaking his shirt. Slowly, people began to step outside, faces filled with something he hadn't seen in years. Relief. Martha approached him. "It's over," she said. Ethan shook his head. "It's never over, just quieter." He turned and walked to his horse. "You leaving?" someone called out. Ethan paused, then nodded. This town deserves peace. I don't bring that with me. As he rode out, the sun finally dipped below the horizon, painting the desert red, like it remembered everything, and forgave nothing. Ethan Cole rode until the stars burned bright above him. The desert at night was honest. No crowds, no lies. Just cold wind and memories that rode beside you, whether you wanted them or not. His shoulder throbbed where the bullet had kissed him, but he didn't stop. Pain kept him awake. Pain reminded him he was still alive. Near dawn, his horse slowed. Ethan frowned. Then he heard it, hooves. Not one, many. He turned. Figures rose from the horizon, like ghosts pulled from the sand, riders armed, moving fast. Ethan sighed. So, he muttered, that's how it ends. He guided his horse toward a rocky ridge and dismounted. If this was his last stand, it wouldn't be on open ground. The West didn't give fair chances, but it respected preparation. The riders closed in. At their front rode a woman in a long brown coat, rifle strapped across her back. She raised a hand and the group slowed. "Ethan Cole," she called. "Don't draw." He stepped into the open, revolver still holstered. "Depends," he said. "Who's asking?" She dismounted and approached. Her face was hard, sun-worn, but her eyes were tired. "My name's Clara Hale," she said. "Caleb Royce killed my father and my brother, and half the men riding with me lost someone to him, too." Ethan studied the group. Farmers, ranch hands, not killers. "Royce is dead," Ethan said. "You're too late." Clara nodded. "We know. We followed the smoke." She looked at his blood-soaked shirt. "So did you." For a moment no one spoke. Then one of the riders asked the question they were all thinking. "You the man who ended him?" Ethan didn't answer right away. He thought about how stories grew teeth out here, how heroes became monsters once the truth got twisted. "I didn't do it for the town," he finally said. "Didn't do it for justice. I did it because I was tired of running." Clara smiled sadly. "That's honest enough for the West." She reached into her saddlebag and pulled out a bandage. "Sit." Ethan hesitated. Then he did. They wrapped his shoulder in silence. When it was done, Clara stepped back. "Red Hollow wants you to stay," she said. "They're talking about rebuilding. Making things right." Ethan shook his head. "Places don't change. People do. And only if they choose to." Clara mounted her horse. "Where will you go?" Ethan looked west, where the land stretched endless and unforgiving. "Somewhere no one knows my name," he said. She nodded. "That's usually where peace lives." The riders turned back toward Red Hollow. Ethan watched them go. For the first time in years, the ghosts didn't follow. Weeks later, a traveler would pass through a quiet town with a new sheriff and no gallows in use. They'd hear stories by the fire about a man who rode like the devil and shot like judgment. Some said he died in the desert. Others said he became a legend. But the old ones, the ones who knew the West best, said this: "The West doesn't kill every man. Some it simply lets go." And somewhere beyond the dust and blood, Ethan Cole rode on.